Fire and Police Commission and just discuss fireworks and how it plays into the gunfire. I believe the fire department said they did 19 calls over the 4th
Right,
of
19
July.
calls. Out of the 19, 12 were fire-related, but the other were great.
And they were going to check with the police department to see their
Out of
number
those
of
calls,
calls
right.
and then try to look at this as a whole. So we'll get, Assistant Chief Jones was kind of pulling this together.
Right.
And we did ask about the police being involved.
We did.
And when we have that
I sent a copy
meting,
of that ordinance to
to-
Sergeant Welsh and
okay.
Captain Baker
right,
before the 4th, so.
You did send one? Oh, really? Okay.
With the gunshots, is that that would be a separate ordinance, I'm assuming?
Well, there's a discharging a firearm within the
Firearm.
city limit law that, you know, you don't even have an I mean, whether there's an ordinance or not, there's a state law about that, so.
Because that-
discharging firearms within the city limits
Right.
at any point in time.
Right.
Because they are really discharging them, and that
Well,
needs
there's
to be.
been a lot of charges lately
Great,
in
great.
the district court and in circuit court with regard to that type activity.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's because you hear gunshots all the time.
Mixed in with fireworks.
Well, I mean, just even on a normal night, sometimes you'll hear gunshots.
Well, we'll have the joint meeting and then see, and then maybe we address two different issues or see if
Right,
they're
okay.
combined. But
will the entire council, we're all invited
yes,
to
because
that?
everybody's on one commission or the other, fire or police.
Right.
Right.
So that's what we had asked for the police to be involved too, because we were making the assumption they received a lot of complaints and calls that night, responding also.
City Attorney, could you get us a copy of that law? Would that be?
The state
Yes,
law,
sir.
sure.
So we can have that in the
And
meeting as well.
I really have seen a lot of charges like that recently.
Great.
More than there have been in the
In
past.
times past.
Right.
I'm so glad.
That's been a big problem, and they're trying to take care of it, really through felony charges a lot of times.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes people are getting hurt, obviously, when they're discharging these firearms.
Good deal.
Any other committee or commission reports? Moving on appointments, we had one appointment of Ms. Paula Patterson, Jamie Patterson to the Park Commission. Mr. Pulliam, you want to make
motion
a
we accept.
Second.
motion and a second? Any questions? All in favor by aye? Aye. Opposed? She is appointed. Moving on into citizens' request, we have one. Mr. Everett, are you here? Come to the microphone and make your request. We normally allow about 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. I'm the property manager for the shopping center, Meadowbrook Square at 500 West Broadway. I guess it was about 3 years ago, we had made a request to have a special ordinance to allow storage to be used at our shopping center that we manage there. West Memphis Storage is now open. It's been, I guess, open about 2.5 years. We're coming before the council again to request that we have a special permit to expand the storage into a space adjacent to the existing storage. The space is about 9,000 square feet, and the reason for our expansion is that the current facility is full or near full, and we have requests for additional space. And I'm here to answer any questions anyone has.
Well, I got one question.
Sure.
Have all of the requirements been met?
How long are the requirements
No,
been?
I said have all of the requirements been met that was set forth by, I think, the planning commission and
Yes,
council people in that ward?
yes. The answer to that, yes.
So, but doesn't that process start all over again so that he actually has to go to the planning department and move the process forward? since it
I
was
think he
tabled
could probably,
indefinitely?
well, no, I think he could probably have it put back on the agenda if it was sponsored by members of the city council.
But it will be starting over.
We'll be starting over with another reading and whatever.
If we do that, I think we should put it in with the approval of the city administration and public, make sure it meets all the code enforcement, all the things that have been complied with.
Well, and two city council members are going to have to be satisfied
To sign
for
it.
you So I would assume we'll be talking about the council members that represent that ward to check and make sure that all the
Also,
requirements have been met.
could we invite Paul up? I know we kind of talked about this in pre-council, and I think he was going to have some information for us on this matter.
Hey, Paul. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Yes, sir.
Well, basically, we briefly talked about in pre-council.
Yes, sir.
And I think it was some concerns. And I just wanted to make sure that all the concerns was met. I guess that's the question that I'm wondering, because that's the talk. So I know you got some pictures or something.
I do have some current pictures. Staff went over and took some pictures just a few minutes ago. Now, I think the initial issue was the water in the dock, in the old dock. That seems to be remedied at current. But as this moved along, there were some other issues about just the general condition of the rear of that center. While it does seem that there's been some improvements made there, and particularly behind where where Mr. Everett's trying to expand, I've got the pictures and I'll be glad to share them with you. That's just what they look like today. As you move down the center, there still seems to be some deficiencies, at least looking at the photos. And if y'all want to look at them.
I would like to, Mr. Booker, if you could.
You want me to
start.
just bring them to you?
Thank you.
How many times has this been before the council, this issue?
Is this too sick?
This starts behind where he's expanding, and this is moving west. Councilman Crew?
Yeah, I was asking, how many times has he been before the council, this business been before the council? Because I know of two.
Well, you had two different applications.
Okay.
So there was a previous application for a U-Haul dealership, and then this petition for special use permit to expand his storage facility, that came after the U-Haul.
Okay.
The U-Haul was appealed once, two, I believe, maybe, so that's maybe why it seems like we've been here frequently.
Okay.
But it was same property, but two different applications in a short time period.
So on the first application, what kept you guys from making the corrections of, or what took so long to make the corrections, I guess I'd say?
Well, I think the first time I came, I wasn't here when it came forward for people to ask. That's what if I don't know if I'm mistaken in that. I think that's the, I think
you're right. Your store manager or someone was representing the U-Haul application, I believe.
Is that what you're referencing, the U-Haul or this one I'm talking
Well,
about today?
I know you've been here a couple of times, and I was wondering.
The first time that it was before the council, I did not make it here in time. I had a family emergency. The second time I came here, I think I was out of order. I don't think it was on the agenda.
Okay.
I think I made the request, but it wasn't on the agenda, so I made a mistake in that. So Paul had asked us to make sure that the water was out of the docks, which we've done, and it's an ongoing process. I'll just tell you, last week, one of the docks on the other end, one of the legs came off on the electrical, and so the power was off to the pump. So it's a constant change. There was a little bit of water there for one day, but then we got it out. So, we've got those problems solved now, and so that's why we're back here today.
I think if he just get with Paul and work with Paul on this again, come back with us, because again, there are some other ordinance violation that needs to be cleaned up. I mean, so if you get with Paul and working out with Paul, then you bring it back, and I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
Still the ordinance has got to start over
Yeah,
where somebody's
yeah,
going to have
yeah.
to sponsor it. But I guess no one's going to want to sponsor it until we're sure that Paul
Yeah.
and them have signed off on things, yeah.
Free him up,
Yeah.
If I understand it right, it'll be referred back to Paul for his approval before it's brought back before the council. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else to come before the council today?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor by aye. Opposed, we are adjourned.